Oh, don't get caught sleeping on the nervous system. But in this video here, we're gonna look at the peripheral nervous system neuroglial cells. So in the video previous here, we learned about the central nervous system neuroglial cells. Now in this video, we're gonna look at the peripheral nervous system neuroglial cells. So there's only two different types of PNS neuroglial cells. Man, these notifications are getting to me. It's just 2020 problems. You keep swiping. Just stop the swiping. Stop swiping 2021. That's our motto here. But two types PNS neuroglial cells. Let's get to them. There's neurolemmacytes, aka Schwann cells, and satellite cells. So neurolemmacytes, they're, I guess, somewhat similar to the oligodendrocytes of the neuroglial cells of the central nervous system, and by that, they the reason is the neurolemmacytes produce myelin that surrounds axons of the PNS. So same thing, oligodendrocytes produce myelin that surrounds axons of the CNS. Neurolemmacytes produce myelin that surrounds axons of the PNS. So the difference is one neurolemmacyte wraps entirely around one small section of the of an axon. So as with the oligodendrocytes, the oligodendrocytes wrap around many sections of one particular axon and or many neurons. With neurolemmacytes, one neurolemmacyte wraps around one small section of the axon, so it doesn't branch out and doesn't have all this perivascular feed, or that's with the astrocytes. So neither the oligodendrocytes or the neurolemmacytes have perivascular feet, but I was just testing you. I wasn't, but I'm glad I caught that. That's a beautiful thing about learning. We keep catching ourselves, and then finally, boom, learn it. Boom, learn it. Boom, 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 learn it. But one neurolemmacyte, that's what I was getting to, surrounds around one entire portion of an axon of the PNS. So just one small section of the axon of the PNS, boom, neurolemmacyte wraps around it. Bada bing, bada boom. So that's the neurolemmacytes. You also see it as Schwann cells. So not swan cells, not the beautiful swan you see in the pond outside of your house. Schwann cells. Schwann. So Schwann cells, aka neurolemmacytes, they produce that myelin that surrounds around axons. That surrounds axons of the peripheral nervous system. Then we have satellite cells. Satellite cells are protective cells of the peripheral nervous system. They frequently surround the soma, or the cell body of a neuron. They act as a layer of insulation, if you will, for the soma or cell body. And then the satellite cells also regulate the chemical environment of neurons. So chemical environment of neurons, especially in the peripheral nervous system here, as we're talking about the peripheral nervous system neuroglial cells. Satellite cells do regulate that chemical environment. And then last but certainly not least, the satellite cells, they are found near synaptic junctions or neuromuscular junctions to ultimately help keep the neurotransmitter within spaces, so it can have the effect. So say with a neuromuscular junction, here's the motor end plate, here's the synaptic bulb. What the satellite cells do, or can do, they're found within this neuromuscular junction or synaptic junction in a different case. But this case, the neuromuscular junction, they keep the neurotransmitter within this certain area, let's say acetylcholine. So they keep it within this space, so the neurotransmitter can jump from the synaptic bulb, boom, onto the receptor of the motor end plate. So that's one of the functions of the satellite cells. Obviously, they're the protective cells. They surround the soma, act as the layer of insulation, regulate the chemical environment of neurons, but they do help keep that neurotransmitter within the space within the neuromuscular junction, so it can ultimately bind to the receptor and have the effect. So those are the two types of neuroglial cells of the peripheral nervous system. We got the neurolemmacytes, produce the myelin of the PNS. One neurolemmacyte surrounds one small portion of an axon. Then we got the satellite cells, protective cells, surround the soma, layer of insulation for the soma, regulate the chemical environment of neurons, and then also they do help keep the neurotransmitter within that space within the synaptic junction or the neuromuscular junction, so ultimately the neurotransmitter can have its effect.